The country's foreign minister saying today, quote, "No matter how perilous the international landscape, we will maintain our strategic focus and promote the development of a comprehensive China-Russia partnership in the new era." The minister then said China's Red Cross will provide humanitarian aid to Ukraine as soon as possible. Well, join us now, Michael Pillsbury, Hudson Institute Director of the Center on Chinese Strategy. Michael, thank you for being with us. I read that statement from the Chinese foreign minister, and what I read is China will make sure everything the West does to sanction Russia, they will counteract. Is that how you read it?
Very close to that, Brian. I think China is playing the long game here, sticking to their 100-year marathon strategy, I call it, that they want to be the #1 economic power in the world. They think it's within reach within 4 or 5 years. So they're trying to have it both ways now. They're hinting to us that they're going to observe some of the sanctions. This 90-minute harangue today by the Chinese foreign minister attacked American policy a lot, but he stopped short of actually endorsing the Russian invasion. So everybody sort of knows that China is the one power that has so much influence in Moscow. They can make Putin stop. They are his biggest banker. They're his biggest trade partner, biggest investor. And so far, the Chinese have not decided which way to go. But it looks like, as of today, they're trying to have it both ways, lie to both sides.
It looks like they have chosen which way to go. They won't say it, obviously, but they're talking about
yes.
we're going to buy your wheat, we're going to buy your oil, we're going to provide the payment platforms after MasterCard and Visa and Amex said.
Yes.
So they're stepping into the breach. Economic sanctions are obviously the centerpiece of what U.S. and its NATO allies are trying to do. And China's saying we've got the economic weight to throw around and we'll make up for whatever the West is taking away. Do you really think that China's going to reverse course on that?
I think you're right about the actual policy they're following. What I'm talking about is you might call their public diplomacy or their deception strategy. They want the world to believe that they're not really fully backing the invasion. They don't want to get blamed. They want to continue their drive to sell their exports to the world, to be like a friendly power. So they haven't gone too far when they use this vague word partnership. They're actually helping in the real world. They're helping the invasion of Ukraine. Right. But they're trying to get away with it. The Biden administration is trying to work with China, but so far there's just no results.
Michael, you know, there's been this surge in willingness in the West to say, you know what, we need to stop trading with Russia. We need to sanction different products. We need to cut them off. We've never been willing to do that with China, even though there have been so many egregious humanitarian offenses and, quite frankly, straight out lying about what China, the government and Chinese firms have done with technology. Do you think coming out of this era, there's going to be more appetite to say we will take a harder line with China from U.S. companies, from the U.S. government, from U.S. consumers?
Well, your question is exactly what the Chinese are calibrating what they're most afraid of, that we will start to punish them if they go all the way to back the invasion of Ukraine. So far, we've got more than $1 trillion invested in China. Our trade and investment with China has been going up the past year, not down. There's no decoupling going on. So this is something the Congress has been debating. So far, Nancy Pelosi, I'm very sad to say, has refused to join Kevin McCarthy and the Congressional Task Force on China. So we don't have bipartisan cooperation yet. If Nancy Pelosi would say, okay, sanction China, cut back on trade, cut the investments, that would have a huge effect on Xi Jinping in Beijing. So Nancy Pelosi, in many ways, holds the cards here. I wish somebody would ask her, why don't you want to crack down on China? They're the leverage to get Putin to stop the invasion.
I suspect that's an answer she does not want to have to give, Michael. We'll have to leave it there. Always appreciate you being with us. Thanks for joining us.